This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 523.
I program my home computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. Why, hello everybody, this is Adam Silverly, host of the Kitchen Sink WP podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, first and foremost, upcoming events. There are two, actually. One, of course, as I mentioned a week or two back, WordCamp Asia. It is March 7th through 9th. I'm not going, unfortunately. I wanted to try to snake my friend's ticket because a friend of mine, Courtney, who's been on this podcast before, can't make it. She's sick. So I was like, can I have your ticket? She's like, no. So I'm not going on her ticket. It's a bummer. Also, next weekend is Women's WordPress Day, March 8th in Costa Rica. And looking at the website, I think it's just that all the speakers are women, which is awesome. So if you're in that area, by all means, check them out. All right, so that's it for the events. Moving on to segment one, in the news, two things to talk about here. First was an article over on WPTavern by Jyolsna, where she shared that the Support Inclusion and Tech group, SINC, is now fundraising on the Open Collective Foundations platform. Pretty cool. So for those who don't know, this was founded and spearheaded by Westina Hughes, and it assists in underrepresented WordPress contributors and provides financial support to WordCamp speakers and for travel and hotels. I actually met Westina in a lounge area at one of the hotels, I think WordCamp US in Nashville. Yes, that's where it was. We were having breakfast together, I think, so that's pretty cool. So that's very cool. There's a link also in the show notes on the Support Inclusion and Tech website. You can then just submit and help fund people getting to places, which I think is brilliant. So check that out. Also in the news, Tumblr is selling data for AI. So Tumblr and WordPress.com are preparing to sell data to Midjourney and OpenAI. Now, there's been a lot of discussion about this online the last week or two. I'm just sharing the news. I'm not going to comment on any drama regarding this. Just wanted you to know about it. If you're looking for information, check out 404 Media or some other sites out there as well. So yeah, it's just, it is what it is. And if you're not paying for something, for a service, then you are the service. Keep that in mind. So I'm going to say. All right. Okay. So I think that's it for the news. Yes, that's it for the news. All right. Moving on to segment 2, meat potatoes. But before we do that, here's a word from this week's sponsor. Meet Memberful, the best in-class membership software trusted by the web's biggest creators. With Memberful, you can handle the tough stuff so you can complete your builds quickly. And guess what? Your clients can focus on creating amazing content while they easily earn revenue. Now, what sets Memberful apart? It's not just a membership tool. It's a powerhouse that protects members-only content. You, as a site owner, have the flexibility to choose which subscribers get access to those exclusive areas of your website, all thanks to Memberful's server-side content protection. Memberful seamlessly integrates with WordPress, offering a range of sort codes and built-in functions. This means you can insert dynamic links, integrate Memberful data seamlessly into your WordPress theme as well. But that's not all. Memberful is all about making your life easier. It comes with built-in connections to popular tools like MailChimp, Discord, and Google Analytics, so you can reach and monetize your existing audience without having to rebuild your entire tech stack. Ready to take that plunge? Get started for free at memberful.com/kitchensink. That's memberful.com/kitchensink. Help your clients turn their passion into profit with Memberful. All right, again, thanks to Memberful for being a great sponsor, ongoing support, and it's memberful.com. Once again, memberful.com. Yeah, they're awesome. All right, moving on, segment 2, meat potatoes. Where are they now? Number 2, that's right, I'm continuing the series of sharing where people are now from past interviews on this podcast. Been around 10 years, so I have, a couple dozen interviews. This round, though, per request, I have audio files versus just me reading them because I think the audio is better. I didn't have them last time, sorry. And that's just the way I'm going to go forward this way. So anyway, moving right along, we have Maddy, Osman, then Sally Gradle, and finally Jessi Gurr. Take a listen to these, and I'll come back after they're done talking, sharing their updates with the tip and tool of the week. All right, here they are.
A couple of highlights from my professional journey since our last conversation on the podcast include, really the biggest thing is that when we first spoke, I was living in Chicago. I think I had just started freelancing full-time. I had come off of a couple of full-time jobs after graduating and, was really eager and hungry to do more things in marketing, to try out different creative approaches. It's around the time that I got really interested in content and SEO. And so since that time, I have leaned more fully into that. I started with a couple of different services at the beginning of that conversation that we last had. I was doing website design, I was doing social media, I was doing written content creation. And since that time, I really decided that it was the written content that I liked more than anything else. And I had a realization, within a few years of that conversation that I couldn't be good at everything. And if I wanted to grow my business larger beyond just myself, which was important because I didn't want to be stuck in the minutia for the rest of my life. And I figured creative work, there's kind of like a natural burnout point. But really focusing in on content allowed me to take my business to new heights. And so nowadays, my business, it was me as a freelance writer, Maddy Osman as an individual, but nowadays it's the Blogsmith run by Maddy Osman, which uses my approach to writing style and, still is very much a function of the things that I think are important when it comes to content creation, content strategy, and SEO, but with a team of people who support that vision and execute it. In terms of specific projects or initiatives that I've been involved in recently, the biggest one is probably my book. I wrote a book called Writing for Humans and Robots, The New Rules of Content Style. It's really based on the content style guide that I created for the Blogsmith that our writers and our editors use, which was very instrumental in being able to scale the business to the point where it is right now. So that's the big one. We've also made an online version of our style guide available on our website, theblogsmith.com. So, trying to share these standards for writing for a global online audience in a way that's hopefully helpful to other people. We have written for, various outlets that have high authority in our space. Moz comes to mind. Newsweek is another one. I would say, and I'll probably answer this in another question, but another goal of mine this year is to continue writing for, increasingly higher authority and, different outlets to just see what I'm capable of, see who's interested in what I have to say and, hopefully share interesting things. Okay, the second question, how have I personally and professionally evolved? Any sort of like milestones or lessons that have shaped my journey? I mean, I think it's top of mind because it kind of just happened, but motherhood, has really put a lot of things into perspective. I think that before being pregnant, before having, a child physically here, I kind of just did whatever I wanted when I wanted. My work style was such that, I would kind of do what I want during the day, get a little bit of work done, but I would actually do the bulk of my work at night. That's when I found it easiest to focus and just like knock things out. I wasn't distracted by answering Slack messages or emails and things like that. And so I think both my personal and professional evolution has to do with really changing my work style to accommodate this new life that I'm living, this big new milestone that I've just, had that's just happened. And so part of that too was also really stepping back from the business for a significant amount of time. I took about a 3.5 month maternity leave, which was very hard for me to do because I consider my work to be in many ways like a part of me. I feel like it's part of my identity, the work that I do. So when I'm not doing it, I don't feel like myself. And I'm happy that I took that time to spend it with my child and to ease into motherhood and this next transition of my life, finding that work-life balance. But, it was also very difficult because of how tied up my identity is in it. The thing that definitely helped a lot is that I have an employee, Amanda. She's kind of like my second in command, and she was able to, continue to run the company the way that I would in pretty much every way. And so I was able to rely on her to steer the ship while I had to step back. And so that's been really the biggest thing. I mean, I think the other thing is like learning to delegate, which obviously helped with this big transition. Learning to let go in many ways too, like not trying to control every aspect of the business, like creating really detailed and useful standard operating procedures that people could follow, but also empowering them to do things the way that they do them best, to infuse their own expertise and approach into it. And that's really what empowered me to be able to grow my business to the point where it's at right now. It's by building a team, building processes, but then like giving them the power to work without my constant approval or oversight. I would also say some of the outlets that I've gotten to write for, really especially in the last year, were big milestones for me. I've already mentioned Newsweek. I started being a Grammarly ambassador, and they invited me to submit content for their blog, which was, a huge honor, I would say, because, being trusted by a tool that's known for being something that helps people be good writers, for them to acknowledge my writing is worth publishing, was also, really, really cool. And then in terms of goals and aspirations for moving forward, I think that the biggest thing is figuring out who I am as a professional now that my personal life has changed so much, in terms of, no longer being this like completely or almost completely carefree person who doesn't have a lot of responsibilities, to now being responsible for, a young mind and a young life, and to also, support my husband as he also helps me raise this child, and, putting really my family first, I guess, is kind of how things are right now. But that's all to say that I still am very interested in maintaining my professional identity. I'm not willing to give up work. I still want to grow. One of the things that led me to write a book was I wanted to grow the speaking side of my business, my speaking career, my speaking opportunities. And so, as this baby grows a little bit older and he's a little bit more independent, that's something that I'm looking forward to diving back into, especially things that might involve travel, but, really just dipping my toes into kind of the local market for now so I can stay close to home. I'm really interested in playing with AI and no code tools. That's been something that I've been doing for the past couple years in terms of the no code, and maybe past year for AI. I have a lot of ideas. I'm really eager to learn from other people, and I'm just looking for ways to create efficiencies in my business, since, obviously I can't have those super long nighttime work sessions anymore where I just try to crank something out until I figure it out. I have to be really effective with the time that I have. So I'm really looking to continue growing my agency, continue working with exciting new clients, helping them achieve their goals. I have certain content initiatives for my business that I want to launch. I have some goals for other things with my book in terms of getting it in more classrooms. It was actually part of a syllabus for a UC Davis class last year, so I want to reach more teachers. And I guess personally, I would love to be able to travel soon and figure out how to effectively do that with a child in a way that is enjoyable and, not overly stressful. So lots of things to look forward to in my personal life, lots of exciting things happening in our industry. And yeah, that's where I'm at for now.
Hi, Adam. Thanks for asking me to be part of your Roundup podcast. Since the last time we've talked, I have continued to grow my business and increase my skills and all that, as one would expect. Projects and initiatives, I haven't been involved in any recently, but after attending WordCamp US in 2023, it became obvious we need to restart the local camp, local meetup engine, and we need new folks to step up and organize it. I would love to get a one-day super meetup organized in the Midwest, somewhere in Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin area. If you want to volunteer, let me know. Or if anyone's a past organizer and wants to mentor this process a bit, I'd appreciate it. Reach out. Personal and professional growth. Since we've last spoke, any big milestones? As I mentioned, my skills and knowledge have continued to grow, and I've refined my business model, learning to be firm on offerings and negotiations. And we must all be good stewards of our business. So it's important that not only I try to provide service, but don't undermine myself in the process. Looking ahead for current goals and aspirations and things I'm especially excited about or enthusiastic about. Well, I'm planning to offer SEO services this year in addition to the current maintenance services I offer. And I'm very excited to add this service, especially for smaller businesses in my area that can really benefit from this, but maybe don't have the wherewithal to take on working with a large agency. Here in Northern Illinois, we have a number of large agencies, and I'd like to be able to fill that niche for the smaller business.
Hey Adam, it's Jessi with Iceberg Web Design. And when we last chatted on your podcast, it was 2020 and the pandemic was in full swing. And if you recall, I was really struggling at that point with switching from running a fully in-person agency to a fully remote agency, which was just super new for us. So in that respect, over the last 3.5, 4 years, we have really embraced the hybrid work style. And while we still have our office downtown Anoka, Minnesota, we have a truly global team now. We have full-time employees, not just in Minnesota, but also Indonesia, Ukraine, and Ontario. It has been amazing to watch how cohesively our team works together across that distance and even different time zones. And one of the things that we're really working on right now is trying to get everyone together under the same roof at some point. I have learned quite a bit about immigration law in the last couple of years, which is something very different than what I'm used to working on. On the flip side, like all businesses, we have really felt the economic strain that comes with inflation and rising costs of living. We have had to pare back staffing, we've had to increase prices, and this leads to new business challenges as we are always working to improve quality and turn a profit. One thing that hasn't changed in the past 3.5 years really is the dedicated team members that we have here at Iceberg. Every day I work hard to create a culture where people love to come to work, and that never ends, but it is so incredibly rewarding when we can celebrate successes as a team. Oh, and some fun news. WordCamp Minneapolis St. Paul officially had its first organizer meeting this past week. I am so excited to dive back into that community, and keep your eyes peeled and let your listeners know to watch that WordCamp schedule so you don't miss it. Hope to see you in Minneapolis later this year.
Well, there you have it. There's the updates from Maddy, Osman, Sally Gradle, and Jessi Gurr. Really appreciate having your feedback there again and giving us the updates on what's going on. Really do. It's awesome to hear from you all. Now moving on, segment 3, tip and tool of the week. This week's tip, it's a website. It's over at dedupelist.com. It's DEDUPE list.com. It's pretty basic. You put in a list of items, and if there's duplications, it'll show you, and then you can kind of have them removed or sort them. It's free. I used it recently to help me dedupe my list. So duplication, dupe being short for duplication. Check it out. dedupelist.com might be helpful for you in a future project. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here. If you have any questions, go ahead and send it in via email, adam@kitchensinkWP.com. Use the speak pipe function of the website. If you want to support the show, you can become a Patreon. That'd be great. kitchensinkWP.com/Patreon. You can also be a sponsor like Memberful was. They are awesome. You can do that by filling out the form on the website. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right. Bye-bye.